Hey everybody! Well, today we're going to take a look at these brand new black hole figures from Super 7. These are so cool! I am so happy to see somebody else making black hole figures. This is a movie from 1979, those of you unfamiliar. It was the first Disney movie to get a PG rating. Up until that point, all Disney movies were G-rated, so it was kind of a big deal when this movie came out. And it was Disney's answer to Star Wars, which had received huge success 2 years prior. So Disney decided to make their own sci-fi movie with cool robots, and out came this movie called The Black Hole, which is one of my favorite movies. I got to say, this poor movie does not get the credit it deserves. It's kind of a creepy movie, and it's a dark movie. And there's even some kind of a death scene in that movie that's kind of difficult to watch, which is very shocking for Disney. I remember when I first saw that movie in theaters, I was like, wow, this is the last thing I would have expected from Disney. Now we got some more of these cool figures. Now I showed you some from Diamond Select, which were really very well done, and now we got these ones. So well, let's take a look at little Vincent here. Now you can see how cool he looks. Very nicely done. Now I don't think these guys have as much I should say features or accessories as the Diamond Select ones. But look at these packages. Look how cool that is. You get a cool little Vincent package. This is what the back of it looks like. You get to see all the three characters right here. You got the grid on there, just like in the movie. Here we have old Bob. Oh man, look at that package. Poor Bob. He was just beat to heck in that movie. Now, of course, Vincent was voiced by the late, great Roddy McDowall, and then Bob here was voiced by the late, great Slim Pickens. I think there were two actors that were perfect for the voices of these guys. Look how cool he looks. Very, very cool. And then we, of course, have probably, arguably, one of the top 5 or even 10, maybe, most evil robots in movie history, and this is Maximilian. Look how good he looks right there. So we're going to take these out of the package and take a look at them. We'll see what kind of articulation they have, and I think all of them have stands too. All right, these are so cool. I'm so excited to see these. All right, let's start with Vincent here. I love Vincent. I think he's really cool. I would love to get a full-size Vincent one of these days. I've seen people making them. I think somebody was making a 3D printed one, which is really cool. Oh, okay, so here we got looks like a stand. Is this in a double? I'm not sure how that's in here. Oh, okay, it just kind of is in there. Look at that. Look how cool that looks. And it has, let's see, what does that say on there? I can't quite read that. I'll have to see what that says. Let's see, I don't think there's a post in here. And let's see, Vincent himself is in this little clamshell. Oh, look how cool he looks. So, oh, here's the post for the stand. These stands on here, boy, these are really going to be in here, aren't they? Oh boy, there he is. Wow. I hope I didn't scratch him doing that. Especially silver paint, that's always something that's careful. That's scratched very easily. Look how nice he looks. That is a nice looking Vincent. Let's take a closer look at this guy now. So this looks absolutely fantastic. I really love what they did here. He's bigger than the Mego, original Mego figures. But he's a little smaller than the Metacom ones. In fact, I'll put all of them side by side so we can kind of do the size comparison. But the detail's really nice. By the way, this stand, it says reaction on here for the reaction figures. So now, one thing that I noticed was really cool is that the black, a lot of times they get the black wrong on Vincent's front. They usually put the black all the way in this part here and inside there, but it actually is only black just above his screen. And then it does come around here like this. And on the back, there's supposed to be like a couple of patterns in here. They didn't do it on this one, but it's still cool that they got the front of it right. Look at the nice paint job on this. Looks really good. Now there is a couple of features here. You can turn his head like that, and then you can also push his head down in his body. I love that they did this feature. So in the movie, if you recall, he's hiding his face whenever there's danger around, or there's one scene where he comes right up against Maximilian and he's fighting him, and I love that they do that. It's really neat that they added this feature into this. Now the only problem is they put a little oil on this and it makes it harder to grip, so it's really hard to pull this back out. I think if you do it a few times it'll make it a little easier, but I want to be careful because I don't want to scratch the red paint on his head. But I love that they made his head go in and out like that. And then also he's got this claw. Now I pulled it out a little bit because this is another thing that's really hard to grip. You have to kind of pull it straight out because it's at an angle. But it's really hard to get a grip on it. But once you do, the whole thing comes out like that. And see, it's kind of at an angle like that. So you got his little claw. Now this one doesn't come out, it's actually molded in place, and his lasers don't pop out either. On the Diamond Select one you can remove this red part and then put the extension of the laser in there. So the Diamond Select ones definitely do come with a lot more accessories than these ones, but I still think they're really neat. And also it would have been neat if they put the little heartbeat monitor here, like the little EKG thing. That would have been cool. But I suppose you can always just paint that in. But, you know, it's still really nice. I'm not going to complain. I love this figure. All right, let's look at all of them together. Okay, so here's all of them lined up together. Now, this is the original Mego one that came out in 1979. And I've got a couple of these guys, and it's so old that the base is actually starting to yellow. And this one's complete. He doesn't have the lasers broken, as they oftentimes are. So they are definitely the smallest version of him. Now, this one here is from Medicom. Medicom came out with some of these figures as well, and they're getting harder to find and more expensive. There's some on eBay, but you're going to pay like $50 or more for one of these. So yeah, and I think they were only available in Japan. I'm not really sure. And then after that, this is the Super 7 one that we just looked at. This is the Diamond Select one. This is still my favorite because the sheer size of it, and also because there are so many accessories that come with this, and all the features on him as well. And then this one is also by Diamond Select, and that's part of their Vinimates line. It's like a more cartoony version that they came out with, so I thought that was kind of cool too. So that kind of gives you an idea of the size of this guy. If you're thinking about getting him, it kind of gives you an idea of how big they are. Alright, let's take a look at old Bob now. Now, I did buy 2 sets of these. So I bought one set to keep in the package and one to take out. As I always say, one to play and one to display. So definitely wanted to do that. God, I love these packages. I almost feel terrible opening them, but since I got another one. So here's another one of those stands right there. I found out that says reaction for reaction figures, which you see here on the package, reaction. So that's kind of cool. All right, let's take Bob out of here. Ooh, man, he looks cool too. Not a fan of these. Well, you know, at least they're in there good. There he is. Look at old Bob. Wow, look at how good that looks. Look at all the damage on him. So let's take a good close look at this guy now. Look at all this fantastic detail. You can see all the damage and dents and everything. So for those of you that may not have seen the movie, Bob was actually an older version of Vincent. That's why he kind of looks a little more retro with the round screen, and his lights looked a little older style. And so he was on board this creepy ship called the Cygnus, which was captained by Professor Reinhardt. And so poor little Bob here, he was abused by so many of the other robots on the ship, and that's why he's so beat up. And poor little guy, I mean, he just gets abused in this movie. But you can see how they did the detail on this. Looks really good. There's the back. There's the bottom of him. This looks really good. He always had kind of these sad eyes, and his head was kind of lopsided. Poor guy. Now, just like the Diamond Select one, there's not a lot of articulation on Bob. Poor Bob, he just doesn't get any respect. But as you can see here, his head, it doesn't turn, and it doesn't go down or anything. It's not pivoted or anything. It's just kind of molded in, which is probably, well, Diamond Select was able to make it so that it pivots forward and backward a little bit and turn, but it is difficult to pull that off with his head being lopsided like that. So really the only articulation on him is his one claw that sticks out, and you can see here that you can kind of turn it, and it looks like his claw was broken too. So, poor Bob. I just always felt so bad for him. And you can see how he's missing one of his feet. So all the robots in the movie that, you know, they floated, they hovered. And so Vincent, Bob, and Maximilian, they all kind of hovered on here, so it's really neat. But yeah, he looks really good. All right, so let me show you the other 2 versions. Starting on the left here, this is the Medicom version of Bob. And I think his head turns, if I can remember. Let me see here. No, his head doesn't turn either. And it doesn't go down or anything. So he was kind of just the way he was. Once again, these Medicom ones are getting harder to find. But he looks really good, and he's a bigger scale than the original 1979 Mego versions, which, by the way, I would love to get my hands on the original 1979 Mego version of Bob, but they are extremely hard to find. They were only available in 2 countries. I think Italy was one of them. And so they weren't available here in the US, and so they're difficult to find, and they're really pricey, especially if they're still in the package. My friend has one of those, and I keep telling him to go to his mom's house when next time he visits his mom's house and see if he can find it, because I would love to buy it from him. So I know he's got one. I just got to try to see if I can get it from him. So here is the Super 7 version right here, so you can see the size difference. It's definitely bigger than the Metacom version, and definitely bigger than the original Mego one. This is the Diamond Select one, and you can tell he's much bigger, he's much more solid, he's actually pretty heavy, and he does have his head, I don't see, does his head turn? The head can turn, and then also his head can go up and down like that. Now, I did a full review of these Diamond Select figures because I really, really love these guys a lot. Diamond Select knocked it out of the park with these guys, so I was really happy to see that these figures were finally getting produced by different companies. So that's the 3 there for comparison. Okay, and last but certainly not least is the evil Maximilian. Alright, so let's take a... oh, his package opened up a lot easier. Alright, so let's see what he's got. The same... oh, his stand is a little different. You can see these got... let me take it out of here. So if you can see here, his stand's got these little prongs sticking up right here. So his feet are probably going to mount into those. Let's get him out. Take a look at this guy. Alright. Oh, wow. I can already tell the paint job looks really good on him. Okay, there we go. Ooh, there he is. Look at that. So let's take a look at his paint job here. Now you can see they did some weathering on him, which looks really good. Maximilian did have that weathering on him if you watch the movie. Very nice. There's the stand, and just kind of sets up on his feet right there, so it makes it look like he's floating. Very nice details. Here's the back of him. More of that weathering going on. Now, he doesn't have too much articulation either. The arms here, they all move together on a pivot, just like they did in the movie. And then also, this side does too. He's got the claws that are closed, and he's got these other tools here, and then he's got the one that's open, and that's the weapon that he had. That was that gruesome scene with the Anthony Perkins character. So that's pretty cool. Now this, let's see, his little stabilizers here, I didn't notice that they were at an angle. I don't know if that's just for these or if that's actually how they were, but they don't move up and down like they do on some of the other ones. But his head turns. It's a little stiff, but the more you move this around, the better it gets. So it's kind of cool. Whenever I turn his head, I kind of think of that noise that he had. Whenever his motors moved, he had that little noise. It was kind of cool, so that's what it makes me think of. But he looks really nice. Alright, so let's show the other figures compared to this one. So, over here we have the original Mego version from 1979. Once again, you can tell that he's getting old because the stand is yellowed from age. I mean, you figure this figure now is probably, what, about 44 years old? I think is about what that is. That's amazing. This is the new Super 7 one right here, and then this is the Diamond Select Vinimates version. It's like the cartoony version. And of course we have the big guy back here. That is the Diamond Select version. Still, I still say the Diamond Select ones are really good, the best. The sheer size of him alone is amazing. I don't think anybody's ever come out with a Maximilian that big as far as I know. And once again, he has some interchangeable parts, and at the head, there's a really cool interchangeable head where you can see Reinhardt's eyes in there. It's really, really neat. So once again, I did a video on all of these. You can check those out if you want. But this is all 4 of these guys together, so you can kind of see the size difference compared to the original Super 7 one here. Well, I gotta say, I absolutely love these figures. They are so, so cool. If you're a Black Hole fan, these are a must. I just think that it's, you know, this movie just doesn't get the love it deserves. And I kind of think when it came out, Disney kind of tried to sweep it under the rugs for years, because everybody was always trying to compare it to Star Wars. And, you know, you can't compare that movie to Star Wars. That was such a huge deal that came out 2 years prior to this. And so I kind of feel like this movie was something that Disney took a chance on, and then I guess they felt like it was something that they probably shouldn't have made. I'm really glad they made it. I think it's a great movie. It's kind of developed a cult following now, and of course the robots, you know, they were the star of the show. They really were. Maximilian there, he was kind of a silent but deadly robot. You know, he didn't speak, which made him seem like he was a little more creepy. And then I don't know. I feel like this movie was just not appreciated, and especially even by Disney. And so hopefully you can go see it. I'm sure it's streaming on Disney Plus, but I would recommend buying the Blu-ray because I think there's some behind-the-scenes stuff on there. And also they cleaned everything up. You could really see the wires that supported these guys when they're floating around. There's one scene in particular where Bob is coming right at the camera, and you could really see the wire that's attached to him right about here. So they erased all of that out so they're not so visible anymore, although I kind of liked seeing the wires. I thought they were kind of cool. But these are $20 a piece. You can get them at the Super 7 website, but I bought them on Amazon. They have them there. And so you'll spend about 60 bucks to get the whole set, and they might go on sale too, I'm not really sure. But I think they're really cool. I'm glad to see that more black hole merchandise is coming out. I think they're starting to realize the Diamond Select ones sold really well, and that might be why Super 7 decided to make these. And I think that you know, people are starting to realize, hey, this is a movie that a lot of people like all these years later. Alright, well that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'd very much appreciate it. And until the next time, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one!